All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this. This is the voice and face of Dr. Tolulope Olabintan of Livingspring Family Medical Center here in Mansfield, Texas, where we help people live long and well because we believe that the quantity of life or the quality of life is just as important as the quantity of life. I'm excited to be here with the awesome Dr. Nikita Shah. She's a family physician and she's the founder of Weight Sense Lake Nona. So I'm really excited to have you on. Now, for those who are watching this live, please hashtag live. And those who are watching this on replay, hashtag replay. That way we see how active people are on this platform. So that being said, I'm going to hand over to you, Dr. Shah. Kindly introduce yourself to folks who are watching. Who are you and what do you do?
All right, Dr. Tolu, thank you so much. So, I am an obesity medicine doctor in Orlando, Florida. I'm also a family doctor. And in my practice, I help deliver the science of obesity medicine I leverage the science of obesity medicine to deliver wellness and weight loss.
Awesome. I like what you do, Doc. I
Yeah.
really I really like what you do. So awesome, awesome. Now people are probably wondering, and so am I. Why is there a story behind it? Why do you do what you do? What led you there?
So it's actually the same story about what led me to family medicine. So in training, when I was in the hospital in the ER during residency, I thought, gosh, why are you here in the first place? Like we could be taking care of you outside. Like how could we have helped you in the outpatient
Hmm,
world? So then I got into family medicine because I really believe if we did things in the primary care space to keep people well, then hopefully we could prevent ER visits and hospitalizations because nobody really wants to be sick. And then as I started getting into my family medicine practice, underlying all the chronic conditions, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart disease, it was weight. And when I started actually listening to my patients when they were telling me, Dr. Shah, I'm exercising, I'm eating well, but I'm still not able to lose weight, that's when I decided it's time to dig further into this. So I started learning more about science of obesity medicine, attending conferences, just gaining excellence in the field and how to help my patients. And once I started seeing just the massive results for them, I started seeing that the diabetes got better, the blood pressure was improving, the kidney disease we're just preventing now. It's not a worry, and that's why I do this.
Awesome, awesome. And it's good to hear you say that. As in listening to the patients, you decided, you know what, I need to kind of adjust some of the things that I've learned and go back and dig a little bit further so I can better help them not get to the ER. So
Mhm.
that's pretty awesome. And that's very family physician of you.
Exactly, exactly.
All right. So my next question is this: there's a tendency to people feeling that being healthy doesn't have a good feel to it. It almost sounds like to be healthy, you have to deprive yourself of things that you enjoy, or you have to deprive yourself of time. You have to do like it sounds like a lot of work. What would you say to that?
Okay. So, my first statement is always if you don't make time for wellness, you're going to be forced to have time for sickness. And the second thing is wellness doesn't have to be perfect, and it can be exactly what you wish for it to be for you. And it can come from a place of self love, and it does not have to be punishment and like you're going through the grind and you're torturing yourself. It really should come from I love myself enough to put myself first. And because of this, I wish to move my body, nourish my body, sleep, and love myself. So sometimes it can feel really hard when it comes to exercise. For instance, like people say, I wish I just loved exercise, but I don't. And I go, well, do you like moving? Because moving is activity.
I
And
love that.
yeah, because just move. Like if you like to dance, if you enjoy doing yard work, go out and do that. Food is big, right? I'm a big foodie. I just love to eat, Dr. Shaw. I can't change that. I was like, really? You can't? Because I'm sure there's foods you love, but then there's probably foods you really don't care about. So let's think about where we can add nourishment into that and still make space for the enjoyment of food, but still let's kind of hack what you're already eating into something that you get rid of the stuff you miss or you won't miss at all, and make room for things and learn to love nourishing, like foods that are well for you. So more fruits, more vegetables, more whole grains. But if you're not there yet, let's just cut the things you don't necessarily care about, like the granola bars that might have too much sugar in it, and let's swap that for a real fruit. Hacks like that.
I love that. And I love that, first you started off saying that if you don't make time for wellness, you have to make time for sickness. And so you have to make your wellness a priority. There's no two ways about that.
Mm-mm.
Um, and I love how you explain exercise. I don't like exercising. Well, you like to move. And we do exercise is essentially movement. So finding things that you enjoy is very, very important. And sometimes in discussing with patients, I hear, oh, I ate this, so I had to exercise. I exercised for an hour after. So it almost sounds like punishment, like exercise is linked to as a punishment for eating something you shouldn't. But no, it can be something done to help you feel better, to help you sleep better, to help your digestive system. Because
Exactly.
all of that happens with exercise. So
Mm,
this
uh,
is key.
yeah, and then the big thing, exercise has so many health benefits. However, it's not directly related to weight loss. So it's definitely going to help you with your heart disease, with feeling well, with sleeping, improving blood flow circulation. It helps so much. But if you keep associating movement with weight loss, a person may be disappointed, because if they keep looking to the scale for a result, you're not going to find it there. That's where the sleep, the nourishment, the mindset work, everything comes in to move the weight. But the exercise piece, really look at other benefits of exercise. Like, are you sleeping better? Just like you said. Are you hurting less? Like, is it easier for you to walk up the stairs? Are you no longer short of breath? Like, that's the key. And that's where I want people to put their focus on. Like, don't focus on the scale, focus on these other things that help you feel good.
And sometimes, that's also something, and I like that you do this because that's something I also had to come to. I was talking to a patient yesterday, and she was telling me she had lost weight. And I said, you know what? How do you feel? Because much more than your blood pressure is better. Yes, I'm happy. Your cholesterol numbers look great. Yes, that's awesome. But how do you feel? She's like, you're right. I sleep better. My skin is better. I feel lighter. Da, da, da. And I'm like, there you have it. I want you to remember that. So that would encourage you to keep at it because you're making efforts. She's like, yes, I had to cut out certain things, but it's worth it. I said, there you go. So
Mhm.
in the end, you feel better, much more than the scale going.
Exactly.
So thank you for buttressing that point. So next question. Now, the desire to feel good is so natural. And sometimes in conversation with patients, I say, and that's where sometimes overeating comes in. Like you want to just feel good. And so food is easy, doesn't judge, doesn't question you. It's right there. And so sometimes it almost sounds like we're being mean when we say, don't eat this, don't eat this. But what would you say are 3 to 4 health tips to feeling good? And may or
Okay.
may not include food.
So, first, before I get to your 3 to 4 tips, I'm
Mhm.
going to just address what you said about the desire to eat and being mean to yourself and feeling good. So, I'm a mom, and I have no problem telling my kids, you cannot eat cookies and candy for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner. And your Halloween garbage is going to go in the trash because you're going to be hyper little crabs. We're not dealing with it. No problem laying down the line there. Will I take the time to make sure that they have the proper lunch made for them? Will I make sure that they have breakfast? Will I make sure that their priorities are met? Yeah, because it comes from a place of love of me for them. Now, that same love you can have for yourself. So, we all have our primitive brain that wants us to just enjoy food. It feels so good to sit there, to not move, just relax. Don't go out and exercise, like the bears will get you, like all that stuff. But then we were given with this like awesome prefrontal cortex that tells us like what we actually need to do to move forward, to think about the future. So, if we don't want a life of sickness and visiting, like doctors are great, but most people don't envision like retirement with like being hunched over, ill,
Mm.
and
Mm.
hurting all the time. Like most people envision this glorious life of feeling good, being able to continuously move, to be able to just bend down and tie their shoes, and to be able to continue to eat well and nourish themselves. Like they want to feel good. So when we think about just aging well and loving ourselves and then taking responsibility for our actions, I think that that is love for yourself. So the same way you would offer love to an individual, because I have many patients who take care of elderly family members and say like, oh, I'll take them to the doctor's office and like do what they need to do, and I'll help prepare their food, and then I'll take care of their younger ones. So we're always giving, giving, giving. But I want you to think of preparing and nourishing yourself, like food for yourself, as love for yourself. So not a punishment. Like I am cooking my dinner today because I love myself. Same with movement. I am making time to go on a walk today because I love myself.
Mm.
Sleep. I, it should not be sacrificed. You need sleep. You need 7 to 9 hours of sleep in a 24-hour period. I don't care who you are, you need sleep. So make time for it, block it out. And I think one of our things that block good sleep is streaming services, television, social media. It'll all always be there. You can make time for it in the daytime if you really want to watch it. Otherwise, go to bed. So make room for sleep and do that because it's good for you. And nourishment, I just touched on that. Feed yourself well. And once you start feeding yourself well, I think that people will notice the benefits and just feel good. So it doesn't have to necessarily be about the number on the scale, but feed yourself so that you are not deprived of nutrition and so that you get all the vitamins and the minerals you need for every single cell in your body to function. And then move, because if you don't use it, you lose it. So if you're going to sit there all day, guess what? You're just going to be sitting all your life. So go and move. So those are my 4 tips. Love yourself, sleep well, nourish yourself, and move. But do it all from a place of love. Don't hate yourself for it.
Awesome. Awesome. I like that. You sounds like a mind over matter type of gal. Like you do it because it's necessary. You do it because it's needful. And one of the things I also tie in this conversation with my patients is you're saving money for something, right? You're saving money for a future. Well, I want you healthy to enjoy that future, to enjoy your retirement. And so certain decisions should be made now to help you enjoy that time. And it doesn't have to be 20 years from now or 30 years. It's as soon as a year from now, a couple months from now, a couple of weeks from now. You do feel better over time. So please be encouraged. It's not necessarily hard work. It's self-love. It's self-love. Awesome. Awesome. Now, I want to ask you, of course you teach this to your patients, but I want to ask you, it's more addressed to you personally. Have you had challenges with following these tips that you have talked about, and how have you handled it?
Yeah. So a big piece of why I got into weight medicine is also personal, because I struggled with my weight through training and after having my children. And it was when I was going at things from a place of punishment or harm, there's nothing changing. It was very hard. It was grunt work. And a lot of it had to do with the situation and the time. So in residency, we don't have time for our schedule. Like we don't dictate how our schedules work. In medical school, we don't dictate how our schedules work. So there was no sleep, a lot of stress, eating whatever was around. And essentially, I wasn't responsible for my actions. So could I have, if I had known at the time, perhaps, but could I have loved myself enough to have the right foods to nourish myself at the time, carve out the time for movement, make sure I slept and didn't try to do all these other unnecessary things at the time? Perhaps, but I didn't know. So went through those struggles, felt very burned out, not really satisfied with where I had arrived. And over the past 4 to 5 years, I've been really making an effort to bring these habits into where meal prepping isn't a chore, to where taking lunch every day to myself, or taking my lunch to work every day is an act of self-love. Prior to the last 5 years, there was always food readily available in the hospitals, the doctor's lounges, anywhere you go, always available, super, super easy to get. And I had never needed to take or prepare food for myself in that way because it was always there. But guess what? The food that was there wasn't right for me in my body. And so I had to grow. And then that growth process is what I try to really share with patients. So sometimes patients ask me, like, Dr. Shah, do you really eat like this? I'm like, yeah, she does. She really does. And then so that's part of how I got here. And then a lot of the mindset work, I think, is just busy young professionals, and we're juggling a lot of balls. I think we very much know that time is of essence, but how do we excel in all areas of our life? And that's mind over matter. So I really believe that we are 100% responsible for our results, and that's where, if I want to exercise, I better figure out a way to put it on my schedule. And if I want to eat well, I better figure out how to do it. And yeah, so these have been my personal struggles, but I've attacked them, and now I wish to share it with my patients.
Awesome. You're a mind over matter. I use that phrase. Wow, you're a mind over matter girl. I noticed that because I know this is necessary. And here's the example I give with my patients. I say, sometimes you feel like walking around naked. It's just more comfortable. But you realize that if you stepped out naked, so subconsciously you know that there are consequences. Well, I want to teach that there are consequences with not eating healthy. There are consequences with not exercising. I want you to make a conscious effort. Mind over matter, because this is for your health. Okay, it's another choice that you're making because it's good for you, and over time you enjoy it. I've grown to love a lot of strange veggies and fruits because I know it's good for me, and I feel awesome when I exercise, and I know the difference when I don't. And patients are testifying to it over and over again, like, you're right. And I said, you see, it's not just nagging you. It's actually better for you. What way to do that through natural foods? What way to do that through exercise? So, yay.
And I actually think what's the best thing is I noticed an increase in my productivity at work. So there was a time where I didn't take care of myself, and I would just be lagging, like charting later and staying at work later because my work wasn't getting done. And I definitely don't think my work has gotten easier over the years. In fact, it's probably gotten harder. But when I am on point, I am eating well, sleeping well, making all these things a priority, I fly. And so now it's just almost out of necessity that I have to do these things in order to keep at the pace that I wish to keep growing.
Okay. So whoever is watching live or replay, these things are helpful. Of course, some work to be done, some mindset shifts, some physical work to be done as far as exercise, but we got to see it as a self-love process, not as a punishment for some of the things we've been doing. Okay.
Exactly.
So be encouraged. There's a healthier, stronger, less fatigued version of you waiting to emerge, and it's so possible. So be encouraged. All right, next question, Doc. What are 3 to 4 bad habits to particularly avoid to feel good in 2022?
So I took a spin on this question. So there are bad habits and there's good habits, and I think many of us can identify the habits on our own. So I'm going to take a step back and just spin it. Because I think it's important. So the 3 things I came up with is not being responsible for your own results. And I touched on that. But it is hard work. Like, it's hard work to figure out how I'm going to eat and what I'm going to do. No magical fairy is going to come into your house and prepare all your food, clean all your dishes. No magical fairies out there to make sure your kids are, like, their homework's done, your business is thriving, that, work has no stresses. Like, that doesn't exist. Okay. If it does, let me know. Please DM me. I want to know the number to that fairy. It doesn't happen. So you're responsible. So you're living your life, and it can be completely have all these different circumstances that are in it, but we can take action and we're responsible for that. So you can take little steps. It doesn't have to be complicated to keep yourself well, and you can habit stack. So if you wish to just start with preparing breakfast for yourself or preparing lunch for yourself, start there. You don't have to do a whole overhaul. And the second thing is I want to is not planning. So if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So if you know that you want to have certain foods this week, you better make sure you have planned to get to wherever you need to go, if that's the grocery store, to get that food and have it in your fridge and ready for you. If you know that you want to go exercise, you better block it out in your calendar. Same with the food time, like plan it out. So I have developed this habit of planning out my week and planning out what we're going to be eating as a family, when we're like systems in place of how we're going to go get our food, how we're going to put on the table, taking account the various activities in the evenings after work, making plans for that. Because if we do not plan for that, we will fail. And then the third thing is reevaluating. So yes, things can throw us off. It happens. We're in a pandemic, right? So we can become sick. Family members can become sick. Things can happen. Just learn from it, because it's probably going to happen again. So next time this thing happens, what can I do to make this better? Don't beat yourself up about it. Like next time I go out to dinner and I overeat, what can I do in advance of that? That might be maybe look at the menu. Maybe don't go starving. Maybe have something beforehand. Next time I'm on vacation, I didn't feel well when I was on vacation because I ate just whatever was there. I didn't plan for it. So maybe next time you plan what you're going to eat, because we plan how to get there. We plan how to pack. We can plan how we're going to eat and move during our time away too. We planned every single activity. We packed for our children. We did all these things, so we can plan. We are natural planners, so we can account for that. So those are my tips.
I love it. Habit stack. I like that. I love that phrase. You got a habit stack, and you start from one. Doesn't have to be this overhaul. You throw away everything in the house, and you're like, no, I'm going to go leaves. Habit stack. Plan time for exercise. It's not going to just fit in.
Nope.
Plan. Carve out time for it. Even if it's 5 minutes, I know the goal is 30 minutes, but start somewhere. Okay. And then be gracious to yourself. Essentially, is what you said. Okay, you overate yesterday. Oh my God, don't dwell on it. What can you do for the next time so you don't have to make the same? Right? So awesome. These are very helpful tips, Dr. Shah. I like how you here. So now some people are watching and they're saying, I love this dog. I see she is in Florida. But is there how are there other ways to connect with you? Like how can people reach out to you?
Yeah, I think the best is just to go to my website, weight-sense.com, WEIGHT-sense, SENSE.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Nikita Shah DO, and then also on Facebook, Nikita Bhakta Shah.
Awesome. And I will post all of this after the fact so people have access to you. Thank you so much for being here. This has been very
welcome
and very insightful. Please, those who are watching, thank you for watching. I believe, Shirley, you're here. Thank you for being here. Please share with those who would find this useful. We do this with you in mind. Now, that being said, if you or anyone you know is looking for a family physician that's thorough, that's passionate, and that's caring here in the Mansfield area, I am she. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. Thank you, Dr. Shah.
Thank you.